Man, we back in the house again. Welcome back with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony. Season 3, episode 318, as we continue to give you quarter by quarter of sports information. And tonight is no different. We've got yet another guest that's going to be a complete knockout tonight on the show. Tonight, our guest hailed from the great state of Maryland, but now she's up there with the Super Bowl champs coming out of in Philly. So we definitely going to talk a little bit about that. We're not going to spoil what she's doing, and we let her discuss that with you. So before we get started, Val, you know what to do. Drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast show with your main man, the one and only Coach Tony. Every time I hear my intro track, it just makes me want to bounce. Got to give congratulations out to my cousin who dropped that track for me, Demetrius Jarman, a.k.a. Young Farrah. We're going to check in tonight. Ashley B checking in. Hello, how you doing? Bella Baby in the call tonight. I see you already rocking out and rolling with me, Bella. You better have all your people on here tonight, too, because this is part 2, if you know what I mean. So I want to appreciate you guys pulling up. Do a couple of house cleaning notes real quick. Make sure you like the show, share with your friends, make sure they share with their friends, but more importantly, subscribe to this show. That's how we continue to build our great audience, people like yourself. Keep checking in, keep talking about the show, and keep making sure every Monday night right here in the studios, 8 p.m. Central, you pull up with your boy, Coach Tony, in the Pull Up Podcast show. Tonight, our guest coming to you from Bishop McNamara High School, Maryland. Basketball standout, but I'm going to tell you something else she did, but I'm going to let her tell you that because it's a secret, because she went on to do a little something bigger than basketball in that particular sport, and it was great. Stella coach, career, ridiculous. 550, 600% winning percentage. I got to take a couple of notes from her and find out, and she's currently right now the current coach at Temple University. Before we bring her out, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Bella Unplugged. Coach and I were on the show Friday night from Atlanta, and we had a lot of guests ask some questions. So this is part 2 for some of you guys. We didn't get an opportunity to get to some of your questions, so please make sure you put those questions so Val will be able to put them up tonight. So without further ado, let's bring on my guest, the one and only Coach Diane Richardson, Temple University.
Hey, Tony, how are you?
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I just got to back up a little bit because I'm from Riverdale Baptist High School. Bishop McNamara.
Okay.
Back then now.
Rivals, right? Okay. I got to get that right. And I want to thank you for giving me some of your late night, because I know you on the East Coast tonight, 9 o'clock over there. So I appreciate that time. And it has been great. How was your day today?
Great. Did some work in the yard, so I'm going to sleep good tonight.
I know, right? Well, you on tonight on one of the hottest sports podcasts where we do a lot of quarter by quarter good sports information. I had a great time with you Friday night, kind of giving the people a taste of what we talk about a little bit on Bella Unplugged. It was great. So we can kind of catch people up to date right now, kind of go back again, Coach, as you did a moment ago. Let's take us back to high school and kind of like the sport you were playing in high school and where your concentration was at.
Yeah, back in high school, I played basketball and I ran track. And, Coach Tony, that was way back in the day. But luckily, it was around the time with Title IX. And so they were starting to give scholarships to women. And so my older brother said, if you want to go to college, the only way you're going to get to go is on a scholarship. But you're not really that good right now.
Was he beating you up in the yard? Was y'all playing some one-on-one?
Oh my goodness. He was punishing me. And he just, he had me dribbling around trash cans and all kinds of stuff.
There you go.
And it paid off because I did get a scholarship to go to Frostburg State College. Back then it was called Frostburg State College. Go Bobcats.
Oh, Bobcat, yes. And the people think you crazy, what you just said, because I used to do that. My son thought I was insane. I said, dude, it'd be in the backyard, take about 2 or 3 garbage cans, pull out, play against the garbage cans. Sometimes I'll play against myself a game of 21. If I shoot the ball and miss, it's the other person's ball, and I'll be outside playing and getting in because I know when I got to the courts and I bumped into that guy on the court, that was that garbage can.
That's right. That's right.
So in high school, what else did you play? You played basketball? What other sport did you play?
I played basketball and ran track. And I was actually, I guess people say I was better at track, but, I got a basketball scholarship, so I was good.
Yeah.
Ran a lot of events in high school and track and field and won some state championships. But my first love was basketball.
Oh, wow. Now, once you got on to Frostburg, you continue to be a double sport. You still played basketball and ran track at Frostburg, right?
Yeah, sure did. Kept me
What
busy.
did you run? What did you run?
I ran all of the sprints, so the 100, the 200, the 400, and all the relays, and I did a little high jumping too.
Oh man, they had you busy. You said you would be that busy.
Yeah. Busy.
Right? Did they have anybody else on the team? It was just you. You was handing the baton out to yourself, I guess, right?
Right. They were like, "You okay? The 100 meters is coming up next. You okay? The relay's coming up next." And I'd be like, wow. "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, you could have put Gatorade on the map back in the day.
Right.
But the cool part about it that I love, I got a chance to understand the background was the legacy of the track and what you were doing took you on and gave you an invitation in 1980 in the Summer Games. Explain that a little bit. How excited were you to wait a minute, I come to basketball, but I get invited to the Summer Games for the 80 Olympics. How was that? Yeah,
that was great. I mean, back then we were running our meets and regional winners always got to advance to the Olympic team. And so I was a regional winner in the 400 and the 200. And, we were all getting all ready, thought we were going to go to Colorado Springs to train. But That was the year that they boycotted the Olympics.
Correct. I remember that. Mm-hmm. So you need to be talking to somebody. They took your medal. We got to figure that out.
That's right.
Get out. And you, back in the high school side of things, before you got to Frostburg, recruiting was a little different. Try to explain to people because you physically had to sit down and write a letter, write information. Now you at home. Why go to Frostburg? Did you have any other opportunities? And what was the recruiting like as you were coming through high school?
Well, because it was so new, Coach Tony, when Frostburg offered, I was like, okay, I'm there.
Right.
And, so I was like, whoa, Mom, I get to go to college for free. So took it. And then when I got to Frostburg after the first semester or so, University of Hawaii sent me an offer to run track.
Oh, wow. So if we rewind the clock and you got to Frostburg and we got Hawaii, you may have been a track star.
Right. May have been, but you know what? I didn't want to go that far away from home, but it was nice to get that offer though. And, the rest, I played basketball and ran track at Frostburg and met a lot of great people at Frostburg too. Some of my lifelong friends. So
speaking of that, we was on the radio with one the other day with Bella. Talk about that because she always talking crazy. So it was good to have her sitting there, as she said, she's the little sis. So I guess it was great to bump across that. And like you said, lifelong friends. Umpteen years later, we're still in communication with one another. That's great.
Yeah, and I also met my husband there. So, and we've been married for 40 some years. So.
Oh, wow. That's amazing and all that. So, it is so great. When you were in high school, what was the high school coach or when you were doing basketball and running track, was it something about the coach itself in terms of the work ethic that you had to do? Because you were already putting the work in with track and field. You had Frostburg, you're getting ready to go there. But as you were building up to there, how did the high school side of the house prepare you for what you're about to experience in college?
Yeah, pretty much, getting on that regimen of practicing and getting better. And, in high school, you go through seasons. And in high school, once the season's over, back then, it was over.
It was over,
just my coach understanding that I had to get ready. And so we continued, and I ran track all the way through almost to the summertime. Matter of fact, missed my prom because I had to meet. But just getting ready to one, to go to college and be an athlete. But number two, to go to college, coming from a neighborhood that I came from where most people didn't go to college.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was gonna ask you that. Looking at the neighborhood when you was out, it's rough enough that your brother was playing with you, but who else in the neighborhood? Because I'm sure I'm sure you was getting out and about having some of them neighborhood pickup games.
Oh yeah, for sure. And luckily, my brother took me to the court with him. We played on the blacktop. So he would take me to the court with him. And, early on, I would just stand and watch. And then, people started realizing I could play. Then I got to play. So, I got picked up for some games too.
Yeah, that's funny. Back in the day, you had instructions. I remember when we played in Chicago, you the new guy, you guard such and such, pass the ball, and you don't take a shot unless it's a layup or you wide open.
Right.
Because the old heads had it locked.
Yeah, it got to the point where, some of the guys were like, come on, man, check her. Because I was knocking down jumpers and they were like, it's just a girl. But then after a while, they're like, nah, I'll check her.
Yeah, right. Because she can play. We losing 20 games because, if you lost on the court, and I love what you say on the blacktop, kids, what I talk about. Right. I was in practice. You're going to love this, Coach. In practice last summer, and something happened at the gym, and they happen to have a court outside the gym. So I told the kids, we'll just go outside and practice. Nashville, 90 degrees, and the street lights come on. We before it gets too dark, we'll go out. Mm-hmm. These kids looked at me, Coach, and said, Coach, I don't have no shoes for outside. I'm like, what are you wearing?
Yeah. Oh
I didn't know you bought shoes for outside and shoes in the gym.
Yeah. I know. They just don't know. And you get fouled and knocked down, you get some skin knees and all of that.
Exactly right. Again, the old coaches tell some of the new kids nowadays, let me see your elbows, let me see your knees. You ain't got them scars and scrapes, that means you ain't playing hard.
Right. It's crazy because one of my assistant coaches posted something on social media, and it was me instructing her, and she said, I'm in the gym with the GOAT, and I was instructing her, and I had on shorts, and I looked at my knees, and I said, oh my gosh. Oh, you posted that, all the scars, Coach Tony, all the scars, the knees, they look whack.
Hey, you done went through the battle. We got Chief 24 Beast checking in, saying, what's up, what's good? We got keep checking in tonight. We got Coach Diane Richardson on the block with us tonight. She done pulled up on the podcast as we talking a little bit about basketball and how it was. Now, Coach, we get to Frostburg State. Now you step on that campus. You're a freshman all over again. You ain't the big gate in the house. So how did you were able to kind of come in through the door? You knew you ran track and field. You knew that was going to be your spring sport. But basketball is for a lot of people that don't know, it's the longest sport, in the school. It starts basically in the fall semester and goes in the winter. And and if you competing pretty good, you almost in the spring if you can make the postseason with the NCAA tournament. So, knowing that season was going to be long, how were you preparing yourself as you walk through the doors?
Just getting in the gym, playing pickup with the guys, getting myself ready to get ready for the season to start. I knew I wanted to play, so I had to be really, really good. And I got to tell you, I thought I was Kobe and Shaq rolled into one. I thought that. As a freshman, I thought this was going to be it.
Right.
Got a wake-up experience, though, from my coach.
And when you came in on that wake-up experience, you thought you was going to walk through the door and be all one, be one, and then she was like, no?
Well, I tell you what happened and sticks with me. So I'm on the court. I got the ball. I'm doing all of my AND1 mixtape moves.
Mixtapes, right?
I was all these moves, Tony. I was in the backcourt and just funning. And all of a sudden the whistle blows and I'm like, yeah, she fouled me. And it was my coach subbing me because she pulled me out and she said, that's the goal is that way. If you're not working toward that goal, you're wasting your time. And she took me out, didn't play me the rest of the game. And I use that analogy in my life now. If you're not working toward the goal, you're wasting your time.
Oh, that's amazing. That is hilarious. I almost had something similar to that in high school. My coach, I came in with a big head that transferred, came in school, thought I was it. I was playing. I was a captain early on as freshman and sophomore. The guys didn't like it. And I'm boasting about it, coach. I mean, I'm boasting about it. Like, hey, man, you an upperclassman, man. I'm da-da-da-da. So he overheard me. So the next game, because in Chicago, because of gang violence back in the day, our varsity played first at 3:15, 3:30 in the afternoon. And JV played last. So we in the court, we get ready to tip off. And the guy that normally starts is getting ready to check in the game. And I look over there and I'm saying, that's kind of strange. I wonder what he's doing up there. So the ball tips up. It probably was 20, 30 seconds to run off the clock. Ball went out of bounds. Bam. Got me out. I said, Coach, what did I do wrong? He said, you asked to start, didn't you? I said, yeah. He said, good. You got all that and called me a couple bleeping words and told me to get to the end of the bench, move my chair and move it away. And then, welcome to varsity. Never asked again. I never asked to start again. I just went by and did what I had to do.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call, though, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. And we got Coach Diane Richardson in the house, Temple University here, where as we coming to a close in the first quarter with Coach Tony and the Pull-Up Podcast. We're going to let Val pay some bills real quick. We'll be right back for the second quarter of the Pull-Up Podcast show.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. Key Spot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. Key Spot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Man, welcome back to the Pull-Up Podcast show. Buzzer come in, Coach and I know about that. Get out the huddle. That buzzer go off. Get back on that floor. Ready to check in here. We got Coach Fred Hudson checking in. By the way, Coach, Fred Hudson is the shot doctor, and I got to put you guys together. He's been working with a lot of NBA guys. You probably already familiar with his product. He works with, he's the founder of the Shot Doctor, working and improving everybody's shot. He had Darius Garland and a couple other guys in the league and all that. So got a very rich product. He's actually going to be on the show next Monday night. So I'm looking forward to that. And Coach Ethan Rainwater, what's going on, Coach? Thank you for checking in tonight. Got you basketball in here. Make sure y'all throw some questions up for Coach. Now, here's a good one, Coach, because I want to know. I know how it was when I was in school. Now you playing ball, and you decided to go to the red, black, and white to the Delta Sigma Theta.
That's right.
Tell us, if I catch any of y'all online pledging, you losing your scholarship. So how are you able to get around that, Coach?
Well, fortunately, my head coach didn't know anything about, D9. So, they called it underground. But
underground, back in the day, I'm in underground in 89. I know.
it felt real underground because I would come home from practice and go straight to pledging and be pledging, almost through the night, and then I'd show up. But got it done, though.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that is some work. And did you go in spring semester, fall semester?
Spring.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in spring too, but that's some work. And you always pissed off at your line sisters who are late and get you in trouble.
Right. And as an athlete, we don't play that.
Oh, no. Show up and be ready to work. And now you want to come up in here. Now I got to listen to what I told you. We had one of my guys online. They called him TikTok because he never was on time. Kept us in trouble. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you, man? And then you got to, it's almost in one kid. So it was funny. But the brotherhood, because like you say, 30-some years later, we still talk on the phone. And it's great because that Divine Nine is excellent, and it's a great thing. And I got an opportunity that when I got to Nashville in the coaching ramification, and when I got into my first job in the college side of the house at Fisk University, got a really good opportunity to really experience not only the HBCU, but the HBCU with the Divine Nine on the yard. That was a whole nother different ball game.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, I'm in Chicago, one thing, but when you get, Coach, I was seeing guys with canes, 90 years old, was representing. They come to the TSU and all the games. So I'm like, okay.
That's a show. That's a show for sure.
Oh yeah. So at Frostburg, now you're going. Did you find out that you were putting more work into track and field since you had got an opportunity to be invited to the summer games in 80? Or was track and field just more of a natural thing because it was just something you were doing because basketball got you running up and down the court all the time?
Yeah, track and field was more natural for me. But I enjoyed basketball because, you had your team and it was like a team thing. And in track and field, I would run my race and then I'd go under the tent and take a nap and they'd call me for the next race.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, wake up, it's second call. But in basketball, just the camaraderie and the teamwork and, it was kind of like pledging too. Like, you're great as the whole of you. And I love that experience.
Yeah. And it's, it is amazing because those guys, unlike the track and field, you out there by yourself, depending on what event. If it's 100, you're running by yourself, 200. But when you get to that 400 and that relay, you're depending on that team, just like basketball. But if you make a mistake, it's your fault. It's not anyone else's fault. When you got that team around you, it's a little bit different. Did you find out that the lessons that you were learning early on in basketball from coach, especially when she pulled you out on that practice situation, started to really kind of mold who you were going to be in college?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The things that I learned in being a student athlete, the discipline and like you said, the precision with what you do and then the teamwork and then feeling like you are contributing to something. And that I carried that on all the way through. To this day, one of my pet peeves is tardiness. So I don't tolerate that at all. But, because, if you were late to practice, you had to run.
Yeah, you got to run. Hey, I still do it today.
That's right. And if your teammate late, all of y'all got to run.
Hey, and they think I'm joking. I said it all the time, Coach. I put that clock on and I don't say, what else make me mad? I know you don't deal with it. I'm on the high school side. Is when they come in the gym and they get dressed and then you see them on the sideline on their phone and talking. I don't say nothing. I just wait to tell them who's ready to play and who's not.
Right. It is, just so many things I learned with being an athlete. Again, the teamwork and pushing yourself a little bit more, one more, pushing yourself a little bit more. And that helped me in the next step in my career, just pushing a little bit more. You got a little bit more in you and overcoming the adversity, playing against teams that they say they're going to kick your butt. But if you get yourself together, you got to knock them off. Just having that belief in yourself and that confidence too.
Right. And Coach Fred's got a question. He said, he got a question for the coach of the year. He said, what do you focus on when it comes to shooting with your players, and who taught them how to shoot the ball? Because we know some got elbows up, some elbows down, some kids got perfect shot. When you're out recruiting from the college side to the high school and you're looking at a guard or a shooting guard, what is something that you're looking at in terms of that?
I'm looking at the shot mechanics to see that it's consistent. If it's consistent and your mechanics are consistent, elbow in, it's coming off your finger. I know that you've been putting in some work. Now, if you're just chucking it up there, sometimes it might go in and sometimes it won't. I look for consistency, that those shot mechanics that are the same every single time. And, you look for that, whether it's off the dribble or if it's off the catch and shoot. Mm-hmm. And I know, Coach, I'm sure you got a formula for me.
Oh yeah, I got, I definitely got one because I'm telling you, I never saw a shot that was ever bad. And the funny part about it was, Coach, what you just said, because we grew up at that time, right, when the Lakers was getting ready to get hot in '82, and Jamal Silk Wilt, he had a wind up. Yeah. But when it came across his head, his release was right on point. So as you say, don't change the shot if the mechanics are there, and that's what you do. As long as that release point is there and it's going in, keep it like it is, Right. And Coach Smith said, as you were winning some of your championships as a coach, and as you started to get into it, and we'll get more into that down the road, but which one of those championships did you enjoy the most, the CAA or the AAC?
I think the CAA, because it was my second year as a head coach ever. I mean, for college. So we came in, first year was a bus, because you get the kids that are already there,
Gotta
and
get them out, read them out.
you got to weed them out, and then you got to get them used to you. And then the second year we won the tournament, and the school had never won the tournament in the history. So that one was pretty special for me.
Oh, that's awesome. I kind of know how you feel there. We'll talk a little bit about AAU in a moment. That's the same thing. I won too. The second one was good, but in my heart, I knew it was more for the kids, because that first one I won was like unbelievable, because I had never been to that pinnacle. It was like, wow, it was amazing. And to see everything, the reaction, it was absolutely awesome. When you were there, now you graduate, you already get out of there. Did you have that opportunity to get a look at? Because people don't understand, the WNBA didn't come to the late 90s. So we're talking about the early 80s. At that time, we did have a women's basketball league, but they weren't really playing money. You still had to kind of go overseas. So when you got to come out, Coach, what was your next step? What were you thinking right then and there?
Well, to be honest with you, Coach Tony, I was trying to make some money and getting a job.
Okay.
It was few and far between back then. And I knew I wanted to get out and help my family. So I jumped out both feet into getting a job and, worked my way through. And that's another story. Just, coming out of college, you think, okay, I got this degree. But depending on where you are, sometimes you got to start and then you got to build your way up. And I think that's what happened with me. So, I really smart in school. I thought I'd jump out and get this great job, and I didn't. And but I had to work my way up. The same thing with athletics. You may not be starting first,
right,
but you got to show the coach you good.
So
you get that starting position, and that's what I did.
And speaking of what you did, then you jumped out and jumped into a wonderful, successful business career. Talk to us a little bit about that. So you walk off the stage, you get that degree, you say, something, obviously there's no WNBA here, no women basketball, I'm not going overseas. And you say, I'm going to use everything I got at Frostburg to become a business person. Tell us a little bit about the career.
Yeah, so I started out and I went into banking, and I started because I had worked as a teller for a little bit. So I started back again working as a teller, kind of worked my way up. But I tell you, Coach Tony, something happened in my life that really changed my outlook on everything. And so I was working in the bank, and I was working my way up, working hard, working my way up. And I was assistant branch manager. And then I got pregnant and I had a child. My husband and I, both scholarship athletes, really athletic. And my first child was born with cerebral palsy.
Oh.
And so, you got two athletes, and we didn't know what was wrong with her at first until, she wasn't turning over, wasn't doing a lot of things. And they diagnosed her with cerebral palsy, and they said, she's going to be like a vegetable the rest of her life. She is not going to talk or walk or eat regular food or understand what you say, none of that. And, through a lot of prayer, they said that we should put her in a state home and forget about her because she would just cause heartache. Wow. And a lot of prayer. And, my husband said, he said, honey, we have her because we are better able to take care of her than maybe a teenage kid, an unwed mother. And so I knew that I needed to earn some extra money to pay for her therapy sessions. And so I got a job selling annuities part-time, and I did that at night. And I got so good at it and got really, great at it. And so I ended up quitting my job at the bank and started an investment firm, and speaking and talking to people across the country about the value of saving money and putting money aside now so that they can live later. And I was really successful in that, and then built a company. I had like 2,500 employees. So I was really blessed with that. My daughter now, not only does she walk, she ran in the Special Olympics. She can out-eat her brothers. So she's been an inspiration to us, and just seeing her persevere and push through things. And she took her first steps at 7.5 and then ran in the Special Olympics at 12. So that to me has been great for me and my husband and my sons. And that's how I started. And I had a successful business and was a CEO for about 20 years.
Man, I tell you, the coach is dropping some nuggets. That is amazing because of most people, coach would have just, went the other direction. They would have just, hey, I'm going to do this and do that, and I'm going to sit here, listen to what the doctors say. But, we get that. We fight a lot, especially a lot of our Black families. We know how to fight. We're going to fight it. You're going to tell us what we're going to do. We're not going to settle for that answer. We're going to make sure that answer that you said is what it's supposed to be. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. It's halftime right now. Take these two teams in there because I know, coach, like me, I don't like to lose. We'll be right back on the other side for the third quarter. Val, pay some bills. We'll be back on the Pull Up Podcast show. Hey, it's your main man, right back at you. Coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah. That right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those are having opportunities to get paid. You want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go.
Many of the young ladies that I've coached over the years come from situations like mine. And I'd like to be a mentor to them because I've gone through a lot of the things they've gone to and probably more. And it's crucial that I let them know that, I've been through some of those same things and I've overcome those. And I've used basketball and athletics to help me overcome those things. And, sometimes I joke with them and say, you think that this is new and I don't know, but I probably invented some of those things. So, just being able to relate to them that, if I could do it, so can. Man, they're dropping nuggets there. And I'm going to tell you here, we welcome back on the Pull Up Podcast show with my special guest, Coach Diane Richardson, Temple Owls. I love what you just talked about, Coach, because now you're coming from a family situation. You worked in corporate America. You did this. And then you jumped into something that I love. I don't even want to give it away. Tell the people, how did you walk out and walk away from corporate America and decide, I want to coach basketball? Because this little thing called AAU kind of got a bug on you. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's right, Coach Tony. So my husband and I, we had a successful company. So we wanted to give young ladies the same opportunity. He of course, came from a neighborhood where they played on the blacktop too. And so we wanted to give those opportunities to some other young ladies. So we started donating money to AAU programs to get them up and running. And we would go to practices, and I said, "Wow, I remember these days. Yeah. Let's take a team." And as I said, in AAU, you got the A team, the monsters, the B team, the C team, and it goes down, right? We took the 14 and under F team. they just gave y'all a team with something to do. Right. I think we were babysitting some kids or something. But it was such a great experience, though, Coach Tony, just loving on those kids and getting them to have confidence in themselves and, just feeling like we did when we were coming through. And I tell you, by the end of the summer, we started winning. We were winning some games and, that bug, it got me. Yeah, that bug will hit you. And Coach Ty, he said, what's more important, when you were in that AAU arena, when you're looking at these kids, you're trying to do something, especially from a college coach's perspective, is it recruiting a kid with motors, leadership, or the ability to score the ball? I like them to have motors because it's tough coaching energy. Right. And I'd like for them to have the motors. If they don't have the skill, we can teach skill. Correct. But it's hard to teach energy in a motor. So we look for those kids that want to do it. They may not have the skill. And then being a mentor and the staff around me and all that, we teach them how to become leaders. And it's in a way that they don't think that we're making them become leaders. They start to become leaders based on what they're learning and what they're doing on the team.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, Ty, you put that question in there because you know me. You know, his son played for me. He left the one most important thing. I can care less about the score, and I'm gonna teach the leadership, like I said, motor. But if you can't defend, then you can't play for me. So I'm all about defense. You know, I can get you out on the floor. I got a kid that can't put the ball in the hole. I got kids that can do that. But if you can go out there and stop somebody for me, then, you know, you're going to be able to stop somebody. And Coach Jason, we're going to pull up on practice range so we can get some of them Philly cheesesteaks. I already talked about that.
That's right. We got them for sure.
Oh, man. We already got that rolling. And then the funny part about it is we're going to take that a step further. So now you get the AAU. So now you got the bug. Now you there. And then everything is going very well in all of that. And then what's the next step that you end up saying, you know something? I think I want to do this, because I think you had a nice sit-down conversation with your husband and say, you know, honey, I think this is what I want to do. Now, we're talking about, and let's get this straight, everybody. And she's going to college. She's done some things, had an opportunity to do the Olympics and summer game, came back, had to take care of the family. We're talking about 25 years later. Now, Coach decided to go coach. And how old were you at this time when you made that decision, Coach?
I was in my 50s, Coach. I was in my 50s. And I decided to walk away. And my husband and I were really conscientious about getting opportunities for scholarships for these young ladies. And when we put them we rent vans and take them all up and down the East Coast and let them show off in front of people. And then I was asked to coach a private school. And I did that part-time. And then, you know, all of our kids got scholarships and we won some national championships. And I sat down with my husband and I said, I'm loving this. And thank goodness he's one of those understanding spouses, and he played too.
Right.
He said, if this is what you want to do, honey, then you got my support. Go right ahead. And he's been supportive ever since then.
Wow. And then you had a special situation with a special young lady that you had an opportunity to really just pour something into, and, you know, that someone brought in your table. Talk to us a little bit about who she was.
Yeah, Jonquel Jones. Y'all see her on your TVs a couple times a week. She was an MVP, the most improved. She's won all the WNBA awards. Well, when she was 12 years old, she was living in the Bahamas. And at that point, I was coaching at the high school, Riverdale Baptist. And there was another student from the Bahamas there that was on the team. And she was just there as an exchange student. So I was like, girl, you could get a scholarship. Why don't you come to the basketball team? We'll teach you how to play. And she ended up getting a scholarship to A&T, North Carolina A&T. And then probably 5 or 6 years later, she called me and said, Coach, there's this kid in the Bahamas that wants to come to the U.S. and do like I did. So I called her up. She gave me the number. I called her. I talked to her. And then I talked to her mom. And I said, well, you know, you're welcome to come and you can, you know, try out. But the tuition at our school was $10,000. Right. And then you have to be sponsored with your visa and all of that other stuff. And we'd have to find you a host home and all of that. And her mom said, well, we don't have any money. And so nice kid, real manners, 12 years old. Yes, ma'am, everything. So I would call her back a couple months later, checking on how she was doing in school and just keeping in touch with her mom. And then maybe about 6 months later, I went to my husband and I said, this kid, she needs a chance. And here again with that honey again, honey, how about if we sponsor her visa, pay for her tuition, and let her live with us? And he said, if that's what God is filling you to do. So we brought them over. Her mom and her father came over, and they actually stayed in our house with us for 2 weeks. And at that point, she was 13, and her mother said, it feels like this is the best place for her. And I see that you take care of your family well, and we want to do the paperwork for you to be able to raise Jonquel. And so at the age of 13, we welcomed to her home, into our home, did the paperwork, and raised her from there. And she played for my high school team. And she heard my voice in her ear all the time. Those rides home. I don't care if you the coach's daughter, you got to earn it. She heard that all the time. But she worked so hard. She worked hard. And then luckily, I coached her in high school. She became an All-American in high school. And then luckily, I got to coach her in college when I went to George Washington University. She transferred from Clemson to George Washington University, became an All-American there. And now she's in the league and last year's finals MVP.
Yeah, last year my TV was broken because I had it all the way up. That. And by the way, for you guys are listening, if you don't know, she played for the New York Liberty, right next to Breonna Stewart and my girl Icy Anescu, who's shooting them three like Steph Curry and all that. So it's absolutely just wonderful. And she's had a stellar career, and I really think she's still on the upswing because to me, watching her play, Coach, she is. I love what she's done because at her height, her position, her physicality, they could easily throw her in the post. But she said, hey, don't do that. I see Breonna out here shooting threes and Anescu shooting. She started stepping out, and that what made the difference. And I think Minnesota, even though, Nafisha and those guys had a great team, I just don't think they could have defended that because she was able to step away, put up some big buckets and all that. And, it was interesting. And I still think I personally have New York and Minnesota going back to the finals this year.
Yeah, I agree. In the 3-point contest at the All-Star game, the last two All-Stars or two before this, she was runner-up in the 3-point contest.
Oh man, that's it. Now, did you have
lost by one basket in both contests? Lost by one basket.
Hey, and again, that shows, as you mentioned, that's the work. If you ain't the coach's kid, you better get out there and put this work in, just like somebody else you don't even know. So it's absolutely great. And she's got such a wonderful attitude. I never see her get out of pocket, and do anything at all. She's going to stand up and give that. But what I love about her, she's a double queen. She's going to get you the board. She's going to put up points. And I just love how she plays.
Yeah, she does. And she works hard. I'm really, really proud of her. And to be on the floor with her when they won the championship and they gave her the MVP trophy, it just was a mother's dream come true. I think I might have had a couple tears.
Right. She's like, Coach, come on down here. Get about them stands. You better walk on this floor. I can't do this without you. That is absolutely beautiful. Now, you're sitting in a tough situation here, and me and you talk about this prior to because it's hurting the game a lot. This NIL stuff has kind of gone bonkers. And, the NCAA is faltered by its side and everything's came off the racks and wheels of, now spinning forward and they can't get it back, especially after the Tennessee and West Virginia situation they lost in the Sherman Act. How has that hurt the mid-major programs like a Temple in terms of recruiting, and how are you dealing with that?
Yeah, overall, Coach Tony, just overall, even for the, Power Four and everything, it has really put a damper on getting young ladies to play basketball for love, of course. But now you have high school kids, you're recruiting them, you're spending time with them, time with their parents, and they're asking you, how much money you going to give me?
Right.
Haven't played a second of college basketball. And, you go from high school, age 17, 18, you go play in college, you're playing against 22, 23, 24-year-olds, and you're asking that money question. And it's been tough for us because as a mid-major, we don't have as much as they do in NIL money. And so we try to patch that together with our relationships with them and the families, and then what we will do for those student athletes all the way through, not just the here and now, not just while they're playing basketball, but for the rest of their lives. Oh,
that's awesome. And both our girls checking in. Coach Tammy Bagley. What's up, Coach? That's my girl, Tammy. That's how small the world is, Coach. We put it together. I've been knowing T. Bagley for a while. Been up there in that HBCU up in Philly, just stepping down. She said, what's going on with the living legend where teaching don't stop? Keep blessing many of your knowledge on and off this court. That is absolutely correct, Mundo. And I got a chance to get in touch with Coach Bagley years ago when I was actually at Fisk and kept in touch. He's up at Cheney. doing her thing. So I just love it, and it's been a blessing, and this even though it's a big arena on the BCA side of the house, the Black College Coaches is just small arena, and getting in. It's great having the relationships with people, and then to see some of these coaches go and do some major things. We're going to take our last break of the night into the third quarter, coming back with the fourth quarter. Val, pay my last bill of the night. Get these people out of my pocket, please.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning. So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol?
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself called My Man's in Them.
I love it.
And look at Val.
My man's in them.
My man's in them. But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, I'm authoring right now. You guys are funny.
Man, as we bring it down the stretch with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony in the Pull Up Podcast Show. Coach, that is one of my funniest videos. I love CJ. She's a author writing kids book out in LA. And speaking of that, I'm hoping everybody in the Los Angeles area is okay. I know we've seen those brush fires and kicked up. So hopefully all that is put out and that's going very well. Let's get back in here as we were talking with Coach a little bit about the recruiting piece and that side of the house. Basketball now, Coach, is a 365 around the globe, right? And even on your off season, you're still doing something basketball related. You're getting out to tournaments, you're doing different things. And, how do you plan that? Do you sit up and say, okay, here are the tournaments on the East Coast, here's a major tournament in the country? Because I know how we look at it, on the girls' side of the house, Run for the Roses, the Under Armour event, the EYBL in Chicago, that you just came back from all of them. How do you try to, schedule everything in a systematic way that you get the bang for your buck?
Yeah, well, we sit down as a staff and we've got to plan it out. The NCAA has those recruiting days where we're allowed to be out recruiting. And they put out the list on the NCAA website of all the tournaments and the cost and the dates and all of that. And we plan ahead, knowing, which coaches are going to go where. And as a head coach, I have to go everywhere because I've got to see what they see. Correct. And so my schedule is a lot different from theirs. So I may be in one tournament one day, and then I'm flying to the next one to see where one of my assistants are to, see who they're seeing. But you're right, it is 365 days and around the clock. And the NCAA has what they're calling a coach's shutdown, which happens to be this week. Yeah. So, you got your life balance, work-life balance, but we're still not actively recruiting, but believe me, we're thinking and trying to figure out what our roster management is and all of that too.
Yeah, that's good. And young Coach Ethan, this is my kid, came up, played middle school ball. I've been a great mentor to him. I've been, really love how the kid went on down to Bryan College here in Tennessee. And now he's out coaching at Bluefield down in West Virginia, doing his thing right now, and he's in it. And as a young coach and getting ready to step on the sideline for the first time, in a real good coaching capacity, he says, as a new coach in this coaching circle, that he would love to know what's the biggest difference that you've seen between the men and women's game.
I think, and it's one of my focuses, I think girls play good when they feel good. Boys feel good when they play good.
Okay.
So that's the difference, and with women, it's kind of a confidence. You got to get their confidence up first to get them to have a little bit dog in them, where the guys, they have the dog in them first. They might not have the skill, but they a dog. So you got to be able to understand how to balance that with girls.
Mm-hmm. And then we talked, Coach Jay asked earlier about the CAA and AAC awards, but tell them about this other little award you just won that brought out the likes of Jim Brown.
It was they named a community service award after me and an award after James Brown. And so we are both the inaugural award winners, and they've named these awards after us. And spending time with JB was awesome, but it was also awesome to get that award too. It just shows how much work I'm doing in the communities and mentoring and all of that. And both JB and I got recognized by the governors and the mayor of DC and all that for the work that we've done.
Right. That is awesome. And DC is going through his own things right now. And, and that's great to have you guys in there and just great mentors back to the neighborhood, men and women's side of the house. On the coaching side of the house, you spent about 11 years or so as an assistant. Then you got that one big kickstart at Towson, and then it kickstarted everything else. How did you feel when you're now going from doing this as an assistant and hopefully you get a question to now standing up telling them what to do? How was that feeling?
Well, I did spend time as an assistant, learning a lot of things and trying to learn as much as I could so that when I did become a head coach, I could take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I've been an assistant under some dynamic coaches, Mike Carey at West Virginia, Brenda Freeze at Maryland, Jonathan Sippas at GW. So I learned a lot from them. And thank goodness I don't have to do scouts, though. That's scout work. Woo! Woo! But as a head coach, they bring the scouts to me, which is good.
Yeah. And that's on my side. That's why I'm gonna get on the bench with you. That's my piece. I'm the scout. I get out. People always, I tell the guys, man, I can walk in gyms here without even ID. Most of them know me because I'm in the gyms all the time,
Yeah.
And some of the kids will say, man, I thought you was a head coach. I never seen a head coach. You usually here. So, it's amazing just relationships and stuff that you build. Looking at your legacy as you get finished with everything. What would Coach Diane Richardson want to be known when she says, I am lifting everything up, I am giving it all back, and I'm done. It's my last game. What is your legacy?
I think I wanted to be inspiration, Tony, just inspiring others to do the best that they can do and whatever it is they want to do. And I've been successful in the business side and in the coaching side, and whatever people want to be, hopefully I can inspire them to do that.
Oh, that's all. And I love the comment you made Friday that, hey, this is real. I'm going to have to get you to put in your words because I'm going to make these listeners tonight understand it. But hey, like in the corporate America, you said, and you have to tell the kids, this is a business. I understand what you want to do, but this is business. I ain't nothing personal. I ain't mad at you. But just like I'm trying to win in the corporate world, I got to win here in this same thing.
Mm-hmm. And we have that printed in our practice gym. We're in the business of building champions, nothing personal, strictly business.
I like that. If you don't understand strictly business, you better go on back and get another business because it ain't around here. So that's good. And then you looking at, do you have a set philosophy? So when these kids come through the door and, I know everyone's got taglines on the wall and in the locker room and stuff like that. But when you sit down with these kids and all that, do you have a pretty much a philosophy that you go to that they need to understand?
Well, my mantra is confidence controls performance. And we wear these bracelets that say confidence controls performance. I want you to be confident. Be confident in what you do. And during the game, I never tell one of my players don't shoot, because I know they've been in the gym hour after hour after hour working on that shot. So I want them to have confidence. Confidence controls performance, whether you're in the classroom or on the court.
Man, that's awesome. And looking at this team you guys got this year, how do you guys look this year coming up?
I think we're going to be pretty good. We got a lot of depth, and I'm looking for a championship.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Do you have any particular kids on there that you know that's working hard? You want to give them a quick shout out? You know, that they keep it in the gym is going to keep you there?
Yeah. We got a kid, Jalisa Molina from the Netherlands. We got her from the Netherlands. I had to go to Amsterdam to get her.
Wow.
But she was not aware of her talent. And, man, she's a beast now. So
what position she's at, Coach?
She plays a stretch four.
Stretch four. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so she can get to the rim. She can do a lot of things. When I recruited her out of high school, I told her father, I said, I can make your kid a pro. And right now she's headed that direction. And she's only going to be a junior. She's going to be a junior.
Wow. So, I'm going to put my eyes on her. Ain't that funny how we rename stuff stretch four, big five, step out there?
Right.
You didn't get none of that back in the 80s. You better get down there and post up and ask for the ball. Talking about the stretch four.
Right. Get your butt in the paint, right?
You better stretch your arms out and catch the ball is what you better do. So
That's right.
Oh, that's good. And I know Val was just showing that clip of the young girl, the point guard. You got a tough point guard that's going to be able to get her the ball?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She does well. And she's going to be a junior as well.
Oh man, you're gonna have a young team still pretty good. Yeah. You know, who's gonna be your toughest opponent in the conference this year, you thinking?
South Florida, University of South Florida. We bump heads every year.
Oh wow. That's that one game you circled on the calendar, whether at your place or whether now that campus in South Florida got is gorgeous down in Tampa.
Yeah, it is. They get us down there and it'd be hot too, boy.
It's always hot. It's right on the water too. Football backside of water, but it's absolutely beautiful, you know. And that's great. If you had a parent that sit down with you and was talking to you about their kid in the game of recruiting, I know Coach Ty Colbert asked earlier about that, and I know which way he was going. What would be some of the advice or some of the obstacles to tell them that they need to, one, sit down and look for, and two, make sure they watch out for? Because you and I already know, Coach, we talked about this on Friday. For those that don't understand, there's a little thing in the college ball now called the portal that wasn't there, that these kids got to deal with. That makes it very difficult for coaches like ourselves to go in and get these kids. I've physically had coaches tell me, Coach Richardson, I am not looking at a high school kid until I clear out the portal, because there may be a kid in there that don't like where they're at right now, say at a Duke or at a Carolina, and I get them to slip to this mid-major. That's a come up, and then I can get in their ear and let them know, girl, you got 1 year. If you're going to screw up, I'm going to have you out of here. And sometimes that 1 year and that one kid could be all the difference. How do you look at that?
And it's so important, especially for high school girls and their parents, to understand. There are a lot of coaches that only recruit from the portal because they know they can get somebody with a year or 2 years experience to come in here and play, and then they can redo that every year. But with a high schooler, our commitment is 4 years. We want you to stay there for 4 years. And so if I'm looking at you, I'll expect you to stay 4 years. And you may not, but I am going to commit 4 years to you to get done what I think you want to get done. Don't get it twisted, though. Y'all don't, just lollygag, just listen and collect offers, because some of those offers might dry up as soon as that portal opens. Yep. And so if you've got a place that you think you want to play and they're offering you a scholarship, don't try to hold on and wait for Gino or Emma to call you.
Right.
You may not get a call. So especially for mid-majors, if you can get an opportunity to do that, I would say do it, because there's so many other people that are in the portal.
Yep, and I tell them all the time, Coach, if you think you that good and you WNBA ready, then go to the mid-major and kill and stand out, and then transfer to the major. So if you get don't look at it in reverse. Don't look at it as I'm going to jump up here to Duke and try to play or go to UConn or try to go to UT or Georgia and sit on that bench.
And sit on the bench.
Deep on that bench, like 9 or 10. when you could have been at that.
You can't get in the WNBA without numbers. So
Correct.
you got to go somewhere where you can get numbers, where you can play and get you some stats.
Yeah, get you, because at the next level in the pros, if you can play, they're gonna find you.
That's right.
They're gonna find you. Coach, do you have any parting word for everybody? Tell them how they can reach out to you and how they can follow Temple Owls basketball this year. Let them know a little bit how they can do that.
Yeah, hopefully you all follow us. It's Temple University's Owls Sports. We're the Temple Owls, OWLS Sports.com. You can reach me on social media platforms at Coach Diane Rich, Instagram, X, all of that. If you're an aspiring coach, shoot me an email at drichardson@temple.edu. I can discuss whatever it is you want. If you're in the Philly area, all of my practices are open practices. You can come in, you can sit down, and you can bring your team.
Yeah, you guys heard it right here, because I'm gonna be taking some trips with Coach, and she moves around the country. My sister's down in Florida, so I may end up at that South Florida game. And I told you my girl Special Jennings down there anyway, so you know.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're gonna do some things. Coach, let me tell you, I want to tell you to take my hats off. Thank you so much for your time, especially during the dead period for the coaches, that you just had an opportunity, that we had an opportunity on Friday, then come back on Monday and do it again and really get into some real good basketball conversation tonight. So I appreciate your time and all that you do for me.
And I thank you so much, and for all that you do too as well. Thank you. It's an honor being on your show. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate it. Don't go nowhere. We're going to be on the backside of it. Hey, as we wrap up tonight, we want to let you know, this is my piece right here, Coach. This is the ride. This is where I kind of jump in and help out these high school to college athletes in terms of the rise. NIL with sports marketing, we reach out to different brands, making sure that the brands are happy, the athletes are happy. We want to make sure that we get out to these kids so they can unleash their complete potential as an athlete. So if they've got potential to go to the next level, they got potential to make some money, we want to make sure that we get them branded in the right way. We also want to make sure that with the brands, they get an opportunity also to maximize their earning potential. You mentioned it earlier, Coach, about these kids who want money come through the door. This is a great way to do it. Get you a brand behind you, get paid. That's how we make sure we do it. To get out on that, go out to www.theriseNIL.com. Also, Coach, on Tuesday night, I'll throw on a different hat. I give my girl Val the voice right here, and she wrote a book called How a DJ Saved Her Life. And she talks about the ups and downs that she went through, but how just simply being a DJ during the pandemic and then coming out with the podcast, how it gave her a different perspective. If you want to order the book, there's a QR code. It comes in paperback, and it's also electronic version. Make sure you look up and go to peerlighthousemedia.com to order the book, How a DJ Saved My Life, by the one and only Val the Voice Johnson. And on Tuesday nights, we get you something different, Coach. We bring up something called Interludes Talk on Tuesday, where Val and I come out, we talk. That's our entertainment and music side of the house, and we get an opportunity to do that through our Interludes Talk on Tuesday. And tomorrow night, we're going to have some more entertainment. We're always reviewing movies, things of that nature. So if you have an opportunity to tune in 8 o'clock Central Time, please do that. And then, of course, me, your boy, on the pull-up. Next week, the coach we talked about, and talked to you a little bit tonight, Coach Fred Hudson. He's known as the Shot Doctor. You got a kid that got a flick or got a chicken wing, he can straighten that out. Coach Fred Hudson, pull up on me next Monday night, and we have an in-depth conversation about who he's worked with in the NBA and talk a little bit about the Shot Doctor. Again, Coach, thank you again for pulling up on us here with a Pull Up Podcast show. But as we get out of here, we always say, put the 2 fingers up. We got to go. Peace.
We out.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. Show. It's the